today. Everybody's looking so serious this morning. I need Daryl. I need to see a smile. There we go. There we got a smile there. James is smiling. James Krosick. I don't know. Did any of y'all follow James? Is it James Christian across from California to where was he going? Somewhere near New York. He did a road trip last week, so it was quite entertaining on Facebook to see what they were doing. Well, Josh, why don't you kick us off with housekeeping, and then we'll go from there. Great. Make sure you record. Are you on record? Good.
We are recording. All right. Hello, everybody. Happy Monday, May 11th. Glad to see you guys. Sorry, a little confusion this morning with the links. We're sorting that out. We will have that fixed by next week. No big deal. This will also be recorded and put on our Facebook page so that you can come and see it later or share with your friends as we post out. As always, every week, we will be taking questions on the chat side. So if you guys have any questions throughout the program, can't hear, need something, throw that in there and I'll address that for us. We have a couple of guests today, Patricia Houston and Manny Diaz, speaking to us about a few very interesting things. So glad you guys are joining us today. Please go for any follow-up, any questions, any networking. Would love for you guys to come and visit the Facebook page so that we can connect and share with everybody as we move forward. But as of today, we are ready to go and looking forward to hearing from a couple guys. Looks like in sunny weather down in Georgia and Florida. So Susan, Dill, over to you guys.
All righty, here we go. We'll rock and roll. So it's great to see everybody. I trust everybody had a great Mother's Day and remembered their moms. I hope everybody's living on purpose, with a purpose today and every day, especially in these times. And of course, no drains, only radiators. So jumping right in here. The sea is dangerous and storms are terrible, but these have never been sufficient reasons to remain ashore. Unlike timid souls, intrepid spirits seek victory over those things that seem impossible. It was with an iron will that they embark on the most daring of all adventures to meet the shadowy future without fear and conquer the unknown. Intrepid spirits, sunshine, take it away.
Great. Everybody do join our Intrepid Spirits Facebook page. I know quite a few haven't yet, so do join it because that's where we can, make sure we've got you the latest information. And, some people put up their family photos so we can all see what everybody's, in fact, Patricia, we got to see your family photos. We haven't seen those yet. But Patricia's not on Facebook, so I'm going to do with her. All right, so we're all present, and our mission for this week, our goal for the week is to spread positive human energy, as always. And as some states continue to open up and different people are getting used to, as Jennifer Jordan told us, the next normal, let's make sure that we're that bright shining light as people struggle and figure out what they're comfortable with or not comfortable with. So Patricia Houston, she is an igniter. She started as an intern from Georgia Tech. And she is one of my 100% record on getting people into the Masters of Marketing Research program. And she founded a group at MMR, which is a marketing research company called MMR Live. Patricia's been quite a visionary in the marketing research field and has been very proactive of working on that field and making sure that they stay up to speed on how to make sure that companies understand their consumer insights. So with everything going on, like everybody else, they got creative and figured out a niche, and she's going to tell us about that today. So Patricia, you're on.
Excellent. Thanks, Susan and Dill and Josh and Robert for coordinating. It is so awesome to see all these faces I haven't seen in a long time. So very nice to reconnect with you guys. I'm sorry I'm not able to join every week. This actually is the same time as my normal MMR staff meeting. So, but I got a pass today. I got a hall pass. So yes, as Susan mentioned, I want to kind of share with you guys some of what we're working on. Because while I did get a classic traditional market research education at Georgia, I've pretty much revolted and against it since then and figured out there's better ways to do this. So let's talk a little bit about that today. I'm going to share my screen with you guys. Excellent. It looks like that's working. So let's talk a little bit about what that means. Because a lot of times when I talk about market research to folks, they're like, oh, it's academic, that's scary, that's hard, and I can't do it myself. But let me tell you, it's really not that hard. So as we've talked about on these huddles, and Jennifer and Daryl and my team have kind of kept me up to speed on some of the things, it's all about action, right? And who better than the people on this call to not have this happen? How many times have you guys talked about, well, we need to have digital transformation in our company? Well, is it the CEO that's going to cause it, or is it this environment, right? Things are happening. People are starting to open their minds in different ways that they can do things. So our call to action to our clients has been, let's take action now. Quit worrying about when things are going to get back to normal. Some things will get back to close to normal, but really it doesn't matter. Let's go make the future normal that we actually all want to see. And everybody on this call with backgrounds and experiential and just knowing how to get things done in the moment is really well suited to do that. So how do we get started? Start small to go big. That's kind of a term we use a lot on our team. And it's actually the flip side of probably what I was taught in business school, or what you guys would learn in business school, that you have to start with the purpose and you have to start with the strategy and you have to have it all laid out. It's actually the opposite. You kind of flip it on its head. You just have to start. And it might be messy and it's probably going to be iterative, but I promise it's going to be awesome when it's done. It's a very different way of working. And that's why Susan mentioned kind of pushing the boundaries a little bit in market research, because that's traditionally an industry that's like, we do projects 8 weeks at a time. There's a start, there's a middle, there's an end, you deliver the product, and then you change something. It's a very different way to think about it. And it's kind of come to me through learning more through the design community, like industrial design, product design, service design, and then going back to my roots of exactly what we used to do when we were on the field for the tour. You just figure it out, right? It's not all classically trained. A good example, there's been plenty in the media. I pay particular attention to restaurants and retail. So this quote from Texas Roadhouse really stood out for me from their CEO. It's like, we can either just lay people off, wait it out, or deal with the reality of each day, pivot, experiment, and learn to pivot again. And if you take a look, well, we can send this out, but the link to the article, there's other great quotes in there about how they're just learning from their operators on the ground. All they're doing is simply finding out what innovation is happening in the field, sanctioned or not, on brand or not, that can make business better and help them retain their sales and maintain their business. Okay. So we call this user research. So this is where kind of the non-scary side of research comes in. Susan, I'm not going into detail here, but you do have the market research I learned at school. That's all about quantifications and opinions and scale. Then you have CX research, which is all those receipt surveys you guys get, satisfaction. You know, how did we do? How can we do better? This is a totally different area that's about talking to users and figuring out what they need. And a theory you guys probably have heard about banished around and all the business stuff is jobs to be done, right? What jobs do they need to be done? So when you guys are actually starting to go ask questions and answers of your users, your customers, your employees, your shareholders, your members, like if you're working with a nonprofit or a zoo, all those point of views matter. And try not to focus on the feelings. While they're important, that's not the point. We all know this stinks. It's terrible. Nobody likes change. We're all going through it together. It'll be fine. But focus about what they need. And I think the default when a lot of people think about research is that you have to start with a survey. So think broader than that. Just go pick up the phone. Just go have a Zoom call and have a conversation. We were chatting before this started that Zoom has become my major research method since all this started. I sit on a Zoom call for an hour and I talk to customers about new apps we're developing, how their restaurant habits have changed. We've also been asked by fast food restaurants that we work with to send people out to the parking lot to observe what's happening. Totally valid. You don't have to talk to anybody and nobody has to, feel unsafe, right? Actually like talking to other folks. All very valid research methods. And on the innovation side of things, as you're thinking about how to innovate your business, I put an example here that came from Simon Sinek. He's the author of Start With Why, which is a big foundation of our team and kind of how we do business. but it doesn't have to be complicated. And it also doesn't have to be take what we do now and then go put it online. I did a webinar on Friday about the live event industry, and a lot of it with live events or experiences is like, well, let's just turn it into a virtual event. Well, think differently. So the question was posed to him by the Aruba Tourism Authority. Well, just think about what if tourism didn't exist? What's the value that Aruba brings to people? How can we totally reinvent our value proposition? Then let the strategy fall from that. And he gives a great example in here of how to actually do that. All right, so let me show you one quick thing. This is the last thing I have, Susan and Dill. But we're putting all this into action. And this is this website is out there live. This is a public program that we started. I have young kids, like Susan mentioned. I'll have to send a picture out later, but they're 7 and 3. So Grant is 7, he's in 1st grade. Claire's 3.5, she's in pre-K. They're shut down for now, but e-learning has been a struggle. And Grant's a wonderful student. We're lucky because of that, but it's been the systems. He can't figure out where the assignments are. He can't figure out how to turn them in. So we started this whole project to actually help gather feedback and drive change. We've got some great partners out in the market research side of the world that are helping us out. And we're also looking for folks like you who want to lead a little research effort on your own. What can e-learning learn from work at home, from other industries? So we're going to be sending out kits this week to help folks get started on that. You can sign up here. Any of these buttons here take you to the MailChimp sign up form, and we'll get all the information out to you. But otherwise, just ask questions, stay curious, and don't say, well, it always has to be that way. It doesn't.
Awesome.
This is great
Patricia,
stuff.
yeah, that is really, yeah, we'll make sure we get this to everybody so they can dig in deeper and learn more. And what we'll do is let's have Manny give us his update from the road, and then we'll go to questions for both Manny and Patricia. So, be thinking about your questions, and we'll go from there. So Manny, where are you?
Hey everyone, I'm currently in Peace River, Florida, which is in Wauchula, little place in the middle of nowhere. We got stuck here stuck loosely saying, about just a little bit over 6 weeks ago. But as you know now, I've been on the road for about 1.5 years. We decided to leave and go west because we wanted to move west and look for a new adventure. And we figured the best way to do it was to get an RV, and we wanted to find the place we wanted to live and then find a job. And that kind of led quickly to, we love the lifestyle. So after 3 months, we were like, do we have to stop this lifestyle? And we kept meeting more families, and the community was just so great. We were like, let's just keep going. So after 1.5 years, I can tell you a lot of learnings. And then with the coronavirus outbreak, it really has changed our perspective. It seemed like it happened at the right time for us as far as leaving, not the coronavirus happening at the right time. Yeah, we've, a lot of things that people are struggling with are, the homeschooling, the living in tight space and all of that. We went from 3,000 square feet to 300 square feet. And, everybody in the community that does this homeschools. So the homeschooling is kind of become natural. Although Olivia, our daughter who's 4, is only doing pre-K, but we have a set, routine. We have a curriculum that we get from the state, and we can go through a curriculum and teach her every day. As far as working in tight spaces, it's a bit of a struggle sometimes, but we've just upgraded into a new RV that gives us more space, so I can have some privacy when I want to do the consulting work that I've been doing, and trying to build the Vamos website and business that I'm hoping to develop into a much larger kind of business. Well, falling in love with just, adventuring with my family. I've been very lucky to adventure around the world and do great events, but without your family, it just it isn't as awesome. So I've kind of taken all of the learnings from, my past in Ignition and everything, and started reapplying them to our road life. So traveling has been super easy. But now it's kind of, where is the industry I'm really focused on? And I'm trying to fold all of that into the RV industry, because there's 1 million full-time RVers that live in the US. And that is growing very fast. a lot of people, you know, the gig economy was already kind of there. So a lot of those people just went RVing and stayed RVing. And during the coronavirus pandemic, there was, you know, stories were coming out of how people are dealing with, you know, coronavirus and the isolation and all of this. And through that, one of the families that we were stuck here with, which is a good family we met here, that actually left Georgia around the same time as us. And we didn't know them until we got on the road. And we've become really good friends. So through this New York Times article, they were kind of looking at the different areas in RV lifestyle. They were trying to figure out how people are dealing with, you know, the pandemic. And lucky for us, we were stuck here with 5 families. So our kids were playing every day outside because we were all stuck at the same time, and we could be outside and have a more relaxed lifestyle. And it honestly has affected us totally different than what I've read, and, you know, a lot of the restrictions that other people have had to deal with. So in many ways, it's been sort of great, but, you know, obviously, you know, we're always watching out and being careful of the things we do. We've set some basic protocols when everything was happening. So, you know, when we would go grocery shopping, it would only be one car, and, you know, we would try to do it together as best we could and things like that. Even within the campground, all 5 RVs are right next to each other. So even though some of our other friends would join in later, we told them that for 2 weeks they couldn't come down and visit us, just to be safe and make everybody feel at ease, and, you know, and following the protocols of the campsite. But yeah, they wrote about kind of the lifestyle through one of the families who are the Wanderpreneurs, and they have a big following, and we got kind of included in that as we were staying here. But overall, it's been absolutely, you know, a fantastic adventure. And if you want to see us more, you can see us on Instagram at Adventure Fitness Family and follow our adventures.
Awesome, great. So very cool. Okay, so Josh, do you have any questions, or if you want to unmute yourself and ask some questions?
Yeah, so we're throwing it open to the group. So guys, please, for Patricia and Manny, throw in any questions that you have. I think if you've ever thought about getting on the road and leaving the material world behind, so to speak, and Manny can help with any questions about those. Patricia, maybe for you, I guess going back, I think your education platform is really unique. Would love to hear a little bit more about maybe where that's going. I think anyone with a child at home and learning what a teacher does day to day is dealing with some of these issues like you've mentioned. Where do you feel like your platform is going to go, and what's the overall objective there?
Sure. The focus is really to create resource kits that are going to empower a teacher or a parent, no matter where they are. So location agnostic and kind of like software agnostic, because all this is very software driven, to drive change within their school district. Because we're not naive enough to think that we're going to come in and tell these school districts that, hey, you have to go from It's Learning to Google Classroom. It's not about that. It's about all the process and communication and planning that go around all the learning is where we think we can make an impact. We're not trying to tell the teachers what lessons to do, or that's not our purview. So the goal is to ultimately make everything very self-serve and open and accessible, so that that parent in Charleston can download it and figure out how to take it to the PTA meeting and say, hey, look, we have survey results, because we're doing the surveys in the field right now for like 1,000 parents nationwide. We're surveying teachers and administrators. So it's all research backed, but then with an action plan attached. So it's not just like, oh, here's the data, but here's the data and here's what to do with it. That's the vision.
Yeah, and that's great. Patricia, we were talking earlier to Manny about your daughter's what, 4, Manny?
Oh.
Is that correct? Yeah, and so they've been homeschooling anyway because they're living on the road in an RV. And so I was like, well, do you have a routine? So Manny was like, yeah, we have a routine. And so I think there could be some learning, Patricia's take what the traditional homeschoolers have done, right? And then with the people that have been thrown into it. So Josh, I saw some more questions coming up. You want to?
Yeah, so Manny, you can probably do this while we have another question for Patricia, but Manny, can you post your Instagram to the group here so we can all see? Patricia, for you, can you highlight one takeaway from the remote work lifestyle that applies to e-learning?
From remote lifestyle. Yeah, I think it's one thing we were seeing before all this, before we were thrust into it, was the idea of micro agility, that you kind of just have to think in small blocks and what needs to be done at the moment. I think that applies to e-learning as well. You can't have the same clock in at 9, clock out at 3 mindset. It's all about integrating it around the parents' lives that day, especially since we're all at home right now. It's not true e-learning, it's COVID e-learning, right? It's a little bit different.
Yeah, good follow-up. And I think, you know, we've got some questions here too, also posted from Thomas Grant here for you, Tricia. I think we're all wondering this to a certain extent, but have you seen anything? Can you give us any glimpse into what a new normal might be for restaurants, as an example, or anywhere else? Any of your research gleaned insights yet that you might be able to share with us about how things might evolve and change in the future?
Sure. Stuff I can share. So there's definitely going to be phases. The people we talk to as to whether they're ready to go back and dine out again is a much longer horizon. So I think restaurants are going to continue to have to think omni-channel. You're going to have to get the food to the customer in the way they want to get it, not the only way you want to serve it. So you might need to have online ordering longer, curbside ordering, takeout ordering, basically all those options available, even though you might not have before. So that gives a small advantage to the bigger guys, right? You know, the people who already had the pipes in place, they just had to turn it on for higher volume. So if you're building the pipes now, keep them open, just go back and backfill and go, oh, well, let's tweak this. Let's tweak that. You got it in place, go back and do the maintenance.
Yeah, that's a good tip. I personally have gone to Texas Roadhouse and got some steaks. I find their model very good, and I think they're going to do well because of it.
That was Mother's Day yesterday for us.
Yeah, right? So Manny Diaz, wondering here if you could tell us what, after leaving the sheltered home life of a regular home, how things have been better and different, and what are the advantages and disadvantages that you've seen about switching to this RV lifestyle?
On the advantages, I've got to say, being with family and being able to share so much time and adventure with family, because we're constantly at a national park or somewhere where we can really be in the outdoors. On the disadvantages, it takes some time to develop your own routine, because when we first started, I call it it's not even a honeymoon phase, it's kind of like a sprint vacation phase. So you feel like you're constantly on vacation, so you don't like want to do anything. So it took us about 6 months to go, okay, we need to have a real life doing this. It's not just us on vacation. How do we structure that? So we started, you know, scheduling time to do specific things throughout the week and create our own schedule. And that discipline has given us the opportunity to continue to both work but enjoy life as we go. I mean, we've done some crazy jobs as well. We went to Minnesota for an experience, and we did the beet harvest, which was piling beets on this huge place out there in the freezing cold, it wasn't a lot of money, but it was good enough money to have a fun adventure and learn something new.
So Manny, how long will you think you're going to do the RV lifestyle? Will it affect like when your daughter's ready for a certain age of school, or what's your thoughts on that?
No, right now, okay, sorry. I thought I was on mute. I think it'll definitely be part of our life for the rest of our life. Unless, you know, once Olivia gets older, does she want to do it continuously? We'll see. But as far as school and the community, I can't highlight that enough. You know, the homeschooling is, as long as you have to pick your home state. So whatever state is your home state, which ours is Florida, you follow that curriculum and then you work through that. So you can do it the whole time that we're on, you know, so all the way till she graduates high school. But we'll have to see how she, you know, develops and what she wants to do with her life. If she wants to go back to a you know, traditional school, then we'll consider that. But long term, what we want to do is buy land and have our RV there and build a small house, but always invite friends over and be able to stay with us and hang out and just continuously live this lifestyle. We do want to go international eventually.
Oh, wow. Great. All right. We have just a few minutes. I saw that James wants to share with us some real estate. Let's talk and do that next week. That would be great, James, and we can spend the right amount of time with that. So send me an email and we'll get that all coordinated.
So as we as we finish up, I was on a call with Lake Placid today with the whole Adirondack Park. And there's 300 people on the call. They're trying to figure, obviously we're a tourist-based economy, and there's a lot of anxiety, I guess, right? And it led me to thinking about, for us, this group, how lucky we are, because I think most of us really are intrepid spirits, and we live purposeful lives. But Coleman shared something the other day with me that I thought it was perfect for as states start to open up, because remember he was saying like we're really downrange right now in our lives. It's like we're in our own little battle zones. And he said, how do you go from an amateur to a pro? And it was like, first, and this is that training in military and a lot of things in business too. You got to change your attitude about pain. You got to learn to block out pain. Make friends with pain. Make friends with the beast. In this instance, I call the beast this COVID-19, and I suppose there's going to be another one called COVID-20 and 22, depending on who you listen to, right? It's going to be around for a while. So you got to make friends with it, embrace it, and really push forward. And then we got this, And then another one I happen to really like, I think I threw it out there earlier, was as people are sitting on there, I'm not sure if anybody's on this call that was on Lake Placid, but it's John Wooden, right? Things turn out for the best. For those people who make the best of the way things turn out. So as we sort of watch what's happening, there's going to be all sorts of amazing opportunities and things, coming up on the horizon. Let's just make the best of it. And one other thing, send us people that you'd like to hear from. Like I want to get with Brendan Harris. I want him to do a piece. But think about if there's some people, and they don't have to be on this call. I mean, they probably aren't. But if you think of anybody, please shoot it off to me, because this is not a for-profit thing. So, it's not like we have to pay people to come on board. And we all know a ton of really, I think, inspirational people that would be great as we work our way from now through the dog days of summer, I suppose, is coming up next, right? Patricia, all I can think of is going across that desert in California. Remember, Blue Planet Run, 120 degrees. It's pretty crazy. It's going to be like that this summer. So anybody have a dedication? What made you happy today? Anybody got anything special?
We got a nice quote from Aaron Garnett here. Things turn out best for those people who make the best of the way things turn out. From John Wooden. Thanks for sharing that, Aaron. That is a great quote. Thank you. From Julie. Thank you, Julie. Great to have you here too.
And we would love to hear about
Delta Airlines.
Yeah, so when you're ready, let me know, because I know we're all interested in the travel, and we're just trying to figure out this summer to get to Lake Placid and how do we get our grandsons back and all that wonderful stuff. So Julie, when you're ready, you tell us. We want to hear from you.
Yeah, no, there just was an article this morning. United Airlines have a packed plane from Newark to San Francisco, and the whole, these guys all got pretty worked up about it, I guess. So it'd be really
That's
great.
awesome.
Be really great, yeah. But next week, if we don't, I'll have a couple of categories that I've been doing a bunch of research on. But if anybody wants to raise their hand, come on aboard.
I think
phenomenal.
Julie, I see your name pop up. Are you volunteering? All right, we'll get her off of mute soon. All right, well, remember to invite people that you think might enjoy it, and join Intrepid Spirits Facebook page. Yeah. And we'll start with.
Well, keep an eye on the virtual carry the load. I thank everybody that's gotten involved. We cannot thank you enough. It's a very special thing. I think next year we're going to have a heck of a lot of fun on year 10, because we'll be back to whatever the new normal is. All right. But anyway, anybody got that's it then? Hip hip!
Hooray!
Hooray! Hooray! Hooray!
Hooray! Have a great week, and we'll look forward to hearing from you soon.
Bye.
Bye for now.